States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? Father, we come humbly before you this evening. We thank you for this day you have made for us. I want to raise up before you the trustees, Eric Northup, Steve Condon, Eric Ball, Beth O'Brien, also Mayor Snow, Jody, and all the other heads of departments and the employees for the village of Walton. I pray for their safety, their well-being. I pray a blessing on this meeting, that the work for the village is done tonight in honesty and in unity together. I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
There's some more chairs right over here. Oh.
All right, good evening, everyone. Yes, we'll get started. The first thing on our agenda is public input.
Just outside of
Public input. So, if you would just raise your hand and just say your name and where you live, and then I'll give you a few minutes to say if you said what you want to say. Whoever wants. Does anybody want to? Yes.
My name is Howard Vince, Davis Road. I'm here for the last 5 months. My wife's Kathy's family has had property here for over 40 years, and we decided to spend time here. I'm going to tell you, we love the town and everything about it. I'm a Floridian. We go down to Florida for the winter. I can't take the cold. I'm a pickleball player. I play tournaments, and I'd like to give back to the town if you're willing. I see you have tennis courts that are sitting there doing nothing. We looked at it. One of them you could actually put a pickleball court on. I'd be willing to teach people for free, just to donate to the town my time next year. So I'd like to see if you could put in your budget lining a court, and whatever you can do. If you want to do it, I could start calling people I know. Maybe I can get paddles and balls and maybe even a net. If you tell me it's a go.
It would be a clinic.
Just to teach people, and then if they get into it, then you guys can decide if you want to fund actually making courts. But it's a great sport. It's worldwide now. And everyone can play. I was disabled, and I can play. So I'd love to give back to the town, and that's one way I know I can.
I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you have my number. And
I have your number. I personally think it's a very good idea. We used to have, when I first came here back in 2005, we had some younger people and older people that like to play tennis, but I think a lot of them have gone past that age of wanting to play tennis. So we do have the two courts. I think it is a big high-rising sport right now. Everybody seems to be playing it. You watch any kind of TV now, even the newscasters, they're all playing pickleball. So I think that would be a positive thing. We just have to get together with the Brian and Butch, our guys who run the down there, and see if that's feasible.
Yes. The second court, you do have room. It's in decent enough shape that you'd be able to put it.
Well, Butch is right next to it over there. I think you said almost the same thing. It's not bad. Just needs to be fixed up the court a little bit because it's a little rough.
Right. Right. Well, thank you.
Right. Anybody would agree with that? I mean, looking good. I don't want to speak for everybody else. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
I think there's a lot of people from my neighborhood over there. And I think the meeting is going to be one of what's going to happen and when is it going to happen. Or are we going to be waiting for siblings and pump out again?
Well, I'll give you the best answer right now that I can, as long as you brought it up. I know you're all here for that same reason. I had to sit down with Mr. Prater on Friday. Dave Stanton came in and said, why don't you guys try and work together? I said, I have two board members talking, and maybe that's better. And he said, no, he said he'll talk to you. So I went and sat down with him for 2 minutes to try and figure out what we're going to do. The one issue that a lot of people brought up about wetlands being over there. And he showed me and two other board members at separate times a report from a company hired by the Army Corps of Engineers, and they do soil testing, and there's a whole big thing, and said that particular area over there was not wetlands, it was farmland. And that the only area that had wetlands was across from your house, not the wet part, but next to it. They said like a 1/6 of an acre or 0.6 of an acre was wetland. I said, okay. And then I asked him about the soil that was put there, because I know a lot of people questioned the soil that was brought in and put there. And he said the DEC was down there. If you put soil on anything bigger, larger than an acre of property, you have to get a permit. But they came down, and from what they looked at and saw, they said the soil he put in was okay. Then they talked about the water, that, you know, the water is flooding. And he said, well, you know, most of that water comes from the village. And I said, you're probably right. I can't argue with the point. It is your property, but the village has been using that for 40, 50 years or more. But we have to take care of it. We knew about 8 months ago that we probably should start looking into it. And I'm going to ask tonight, I've asked Bill Brown, and I talked to Butch about it, and I said, it's not something that we can put off anymore. That's something that we got to do right away. And I mean right away. I don't mean next spring. I mean, we got to do something right now. One of Butch's ideas was to block off the Guild Avenue line that's going into the ditch. That would stop that. But we have to take care of Maple Street too. There's probably like 100 feet of stuff that has to be taken care of. And make the lines that they go together so it drains out on Maple Street. We can do that too. Bill has a plan for that, so that we can do that. That would be our immediate fix. It doesn't take care of Cherry Street right now, but I think a lot of the water is coming from Maple Street in that area into that pit. I don't know for sure. I don't live there.
The only question I have on that, the building when it was originally built was a much smaller building than what is already there. And I mean, back in the 60s, there was nothing that was tried to build, the water tower. It was the center part of that building, not what you see today. And I understand you're thinking about adding even more to it. And frankly, that land is higher than Cherry Street. It's higher than Maple Street. Where's that water going to go now? Because it can't go to the fairground. You're talking a lot of water.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I mentioned that as well. He said that he was putting in 2 300,000-gallon tanks, not on by your front, but by closer to the Robinson property over there, and that he will have the land so that the water runs that direction into those tanks. He said any runoff from both roofs that's going to be there, he's going to have piping that's going to go into the tank. He also said that a lot of the property up around there has got a lot of clay in it, and he said he's going to remove the clay because when he said he went to the pond over by the next block over. I keep forgetting the street. I'm sorry. Huh?
Answer?
No, the other way, going up. Guild. No, not Guild. Going up there. Camp Avenue, I'm sorry. There's right behind Camp, there's an area where a lot of water was gathering, probably more than what you had across the street. He went in there with his tractor, whatever he uses, and he went down deep with the water and he got out the clay, and a lot of that water started draining right away. So he said that's part of the problem. He's going to make sure he takes that out. So, well, that'll help. But the main thing right now is to make sure that the water doesn't go on Cherry Street as much as we can, down on your homes. So if we do that up on Maple, I believe a good portion of the water will be redirected down Maple to Stockton Avenue and into the river. That's part of the problem, but we still have to do Cherry Street too. Bill would have to, he's going to describe that later, what we're going to do, because we'd have to probably go down to Bush and across that way. That's the one way to make sure there's nothing on Cherry Street. But the immediate thing, I think, is more coming from Maple Street. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna try and work on that right away. And I think that will help. And then Cherry Street will do probably in summertime, spring. It's all gonna be done. We're gonna redirect all the water. And density. And I said, after we do all that, I'm hoping that the water issue is solved. If not, then we'll go. But we gotta walk before we run, I think. We just gotta make sure that our water is being directed in the right way like it should, and not on your property. That's my thought when I was sitting down. You know, it's a both sides of the coin. No one is going to win in this one either. I don't know how you feel every day with all the water coming in. I only know from the flood in 2006 that I had 7 feet of my basement, so I know it's terrible to have that. And I know that on Maple Street, some of the places on Maple Street, since the school did all the reconstruction over there, that some people have said they used to get a couple inches of water, now they're getting a couple feet in the basement, which has nothing to do with this, but the water has got to seep someplace. So that's the only thing I could think of right now for immediate course. I don't know if anybody else on the board wants to say anything about that. Huh?
So it's gonna be an expense on tax.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You got
You're right, Dick, you're right. It's going to be expensive on the tax rate, but it should have been an expense on the tax rate 50 years ago. And it
50
wasn't.
years ago, it was a water course. Free running water.
But the the point is, our water should not be going into that. It's his property, regardless how we want to say it. It is his property. It is his land. We should have not had the water going there in the first place, and we didn't. So I don't want to go back 50 years and blame anybody, but we can take care of it now. And if that does not take care of the problem for some reason, for some strange reason, if you still see water coming, then there's other means. We'll have to see what we can do. I don't have all the answers. I'm just saying that's what we can do immediately to stop most of the water going on your properties. I'm thinking.
Have you yourself talked to the Army Corps or the DPC?
No, I have not. I called them I called them 6, 7, 8 times. I think.
Have you reached out to Arbacher and
Yes, I have. Both of them. Yes,
and
I
have
have.
they helped?
No. They keep saying, I keep saying, but you have a better number for the Army Corps, and they say, yeah, we'll get back to you. That was 4 or 5 days ago, I guess. So I haven't tried, and I will keep trying. But I had that copy of the report that says that it's not wetlands, and that keep it up by Fancher, back on the Cherry Street.
When was that done?
Oh gosh, I don't want to say exactly. It was
Fairly recently.
Fairly recently.
So
I don't know the exact.
The area was already filled in. So they don't
I did not
know.
with that.
They check the soil. They do the digging. They do after someone was asking me what they do with all the dig
There were
drilling.
holes.
They were doing the soil samples. And it's a very thorough report of all the land, and they know better than I would know.
But those holes were just done last week.
Yeah, but they also did when they were doing the report. They also went and checked the soils. It's a very detailed report.
What was done prior to 2 years ago, when that was still wet land, were there soil samples done then?
I
And
don't
the
know.
thing is, the Army Corps of Engineers may have said, well, it's only 1/6 of an acre. Well, he's done it in 2 sections. So yeah, one of them might be under an acre, and the other, but if you look at the contiguous property,
There's 2 different sections. The section over there by close to Fancher and with the Robinson's own property, they said that's not wetland. The ones across the street from Mr. Doy's house, there's a 0.6 acre that is, they said it's wetlands. And they said with all the samples they did and all the companies, it's a separate company that's not hired by any of us, it's by the Army Corps to do this. This is what they do. And a lot of the big companies do that, and they hire other companies to do things. So I can only go by with the report I read.
My concern is just that it hasn't been looked at prior. This is after the fact.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can only say that maybe that's not our part too. Maybe we should have started doing something sooner than this, but I can't assume. I thought everything was going to go, that it would be left open, and it wasn't. And the people that did the report said you don't have to leave it open because they said they felt it was our water dripping in there and causing most of the water. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm just going by what.
Well, I'm sure that's the story they were told.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I wasn't there, so I can't.
That's the explanation they were given.
So, but for the immediate action of taking care of the flooding, if we take care of the water coming from Gill, redirected with our engineer to go down Maple Street so that nobody gets flooded, or if the water is not down on your property on Cherry Street or anybody on Cherry Street, that's a start. And I think the board will give us what we will do everything it takes to make sure that this doesn't happen. Yes.
Is it being assumed or has it been checked to see if there was ever an easement given to the village?
There wasn't anything.
It's been checked?
Checked, yes. That's the first thing I asked for when we had some issues a few years ago.
I have a few comments I would like to make. My name is Dana Baker. I live at 3 Cherry Street. You may not be aware of environmental conservation law of the state of New York, section 15, 1947, paragraph 2, basically says it's unlawful for any person to fill in a drainage ditch. And with specifics there, and I would like to request you to have the village attorney look into that, because I believe state environmental conservation law was broken. Then, I had a conversation here in the offices the other day. I came down for a Freedom of Information Act form because I was going to file a FOIA for any permits that might have been given, applied for, or given. And I was told, Butch and I had a conversation after that no permits have been given because no permits have been requested because no permits are required. So I find it a little interesting that I can't build a 10 by 15 foot shed on my property, and yet he can fill in drainage ditches and raise property and do all that site preparation work without a single permit or inquiry from the village. And if that's the case, I would maybe suggest to the village that they look at the existing codes and statutes for the village for construction, because I could bring in 10 loads of dump truck dirt and build a berm between Dick's house and mine, so any of that water that comes down Cherry Street won't come to my house. It would all go to his. And it would be a very similar situation, and it would be totally legal, is my understanding, from what we're discussing. So those are 2 points that I would like, and I appreciate that you did call me back when he was using bulldozers to fill in the other wet section.
No, that's not the wetlands. What he filled in is not the wetlands. The wetlands is a little bit left side of that. That was, he told me he filled that in only because he had heard some people complaining that there may be mosquitoes for sitting in water. So he said he took the truckload of dirt and he put it in, and he put seed and he put mulch on top of it.
So an area that's got standing water and bulrushes around it may not be qualified as a wetland, is what you're telling me. So he filled it in.
That's what they said.
Okay. So I guess that's a question also for, what is it, a federal wetland or a state wetland? And who decides what a wetland is? But, so.
Well, the state is working on it. I don't know who makes that final decision. I'm calling the federal wetlands on the Army Corps of Engineers, and I didn't get an answer. I'll keep calling.
Okay. Since you're not getting any response from any of our representatives, I would request and maybe suggest that all of us start calling and flooding their offices with emails and voicemails.
I was just looking to get the Army Corps contact number, because I don't even have a person or anything that I can even talk to. But I've seen the report, and the report says there were no wetlands.
Was this the letter that Mr. Craner's lawyer had? Have we ever seen that?
That was the report that he had the meeting again, and he showed it to me, and he showed it to Beth, and he showed it to Eric Nuttall, and they both read it. And I went on Friday and read it myself to make sure, so I could actually say.
That land was filled in before that was done.
Right, but they still, I understand it, and the Army Corps hired these people to come in and do the report, and it was all checked out, and it was said that with the digging and whatever, however they do it, I don't know how they do it.
Was this prior to 2022 before that work was done? Or was it last week?
I don't know when the date was that they did the report. It's not long ago.
So the holes were dug a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And filled in.
Yeah.
And what he filled in across from us, which had turned out to be a giant lake, It's actually all sloping down towards Cherry, so it'll be interesting when you do have a heavy rain, because it's all downhill from this hill.
Okay. But we'll work on redirecting the water right now, that for our part, that we have to do it to make sure the best we can.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure you can.
Because I live on Maple Street, and you just mentioned before that since the school did the work, that we've been getting more water than we used to get before, and now you have intention to reroute the water, and we're gonna have more water. Is someone gonna monitor?
It's two different
This-
things. We're talking about two different things now. When the school did, I guess whatever they did, the drainage or whatever, I don't know how they do it with the water drain. We're talking about our regular system, drainage system. So we're gonna have basins going down and water control. What the school did is something completely different.
Well, I have seen what the school did,
Right.
you know, on the hill.
Right.
So that, but that water is gonna come exactly to the place that you're gonna block.
We're not gonna block it, we're gonna
Then you're gonna block it going to,
We're gonna
where
block
the
it
water
going
is
into,
draining now.
into the ditch.
You're gonna-
But we're gonna open up
you're
Maple
gonna
Street.
send it down the street, right?
You know,
I'm sorry.
well, if you, I'm trying to make it clear to you. We're blocking it from going into the drainage ditch on Cherry Street. However, we're gonna open up on Maple Street where it's not open up now to let it go down to the regular drainage system because it's been a little bit off and all the drainage, some of the pipes are not fixed properly. We're gonna make sure they're fixed properly so the water runs the way it's supposed to run, which has nothing to do with the school. With their water, I'm talking about, it's underground, I guess. One of the houses, somebody said, one of the houses, he usually gets water in his basement a couple inches. Now, since the school did, he gets 2 feet. I don't know, I just heard that. I don't know who it is, and
He lives on the opposite side of Maple Street towards the school, several houses up from the intersection.
Gil?
Street, Gil. He lives on the other side, so it's the water from the school is coming in, filtering off. If you're looking out up towards the school, it's towards the left, that direction. And what he's talking about is you're running up the other direction. That makes sense.
I understand very well what you're saying and what you're doing, and I appreciate it. But I opened that straight up. I'm the guy that developed it. 54 years I've been there, never had a problem. Until what we're talking about right now. We put a new drainage pipe in there, only 2 years ago. It got worse, but we never had a problem before. It always drained. I don't care how much we talk around it. Empire is to blame. I watched them fill that in.
you know, I'm not here to pick one side or the other. I'm trying to be truthful. Yes, he did fill it in. However, that is his property, and there is no.
No, I don't buy that.
Okay, well then
I go by what the
there's
gentleman over there is saying.
there's nothing you can do about that.
Street.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? You talked about permits. Did Mr. Springer ever apply for any permits? And you really didn't answer that question. Are there, I mean, should he have been having an engineer go in there, look things over, present this to the planning board, and get some permits? Or, I mean,
From what he's done so far, there is, according to our code, there is no permits that are needed. When he starts to build or starts to do other things, yes, he has to come before the planning board. And he has a plan, and he'll be presenting it to the planning board. But until he starts building and do something like that, it's his land, it's his property. Maybe nobody likes the idea that he filled in the ditch, but it is his property. And there's no laws. I already spoke to my attorney. Is there any laws that we could do? And he says, no, there isn't. It's a whole different scenario. He says, we got to redirect our water. And if there's other issues other than that, you know, I'll do whatever we can do. But there's no permits that are required as of right now by the code.
now, is there a site development plan?
only when he's ready to build, he's gonna have to come here, he's
So in
gonna
the
have to.
meantime, you've done a lot of site development. When will that have to be reviewed?
I gotta speak to the code, I mean, there's nothing, I asked the code guy already, is there anything about code? He says, not until he's getting ready to do other stuff, and then he has to come before the planning board. So, there's nothing before us right now. All I'm worried right now is trying to redirect the water so you don't get flooding in your house. That's all.
I'm sure we all appreciate that, but I think that somebody had mentioned that the permitting system needs to be looked at. If you start working on developing a site, and there's nothing you need to even get a permit or have an engineer look at, and you piecemeal it out until you get to the point that you want to build, and all this is already in the past, that just seems to be skirting around.
I will speak to the code. That's all I can do.
Ed,
Yes, sir.
the water coming down Maple in the pipe, is that it?
Guild Street, Guild Avenue.
Guild, to Guild, and then rather than it going towards Guild, it's gonna go up down
No,
Maple.
I think we're getting two different things. You're talking about the water coming out from the school?
No,
No, what are you talking about?
you're talking about the Maple Street water. What,
Right,
what I wanna talk about.
on Mrs. Milan's corner there's a catch basin there. You call that the correct thing, terminology? Sometimes I forget. And the water is coming from there down Guild Street. All the water that comes into that catch basin is going into that pit over there, whatever you want to call it. What we're saying to do is to block Guild Avenue where it's going into the pit. Instead, let it come there and make sure the piping goes all the way down Maple the way it should. There are some of the pipes that caved in, like what you're saying, that have to be fixed. So that's what I'm looking to do, so that the water, instead of going down Guild, will go down Maple into Stockton Avenue and into the river, which was the way it should have been.
I probably should know this, but it goes down Maple to Stockton, under Stockton, out to the river.
Yeah.
Stockton.
Yes.
Dumps right there.
Yes. And that's what we're trying to do, so that that type of water will all be gone. And then we gotta figure out what we're gonna do on Cherry Street itself for any other kind of standing water that's coming in. So we're gonna discuss that too.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So there's a basin, I guess, across from our house, on Guild Avenue, and it's in front of where the Webblers, or Blair and Tony's house. There's one there. And then there's one on the corner of our property. Where do they go to? Do they go to that ditch that you filled in?
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Okay. So that's, and you're gonna have them.
We're gonna have, so the water comes back the other way and goes down Maple instead of storing over
From
there.
those two. Okay.
There's also two near my property also, which are filled. So what's gonna happen? Those are gonna be redirected where?
He's got it down Maple, to go down Maple Street.
Okay. So we're gonna have four of them basically now
I don't
going down.
know how they're gonna do it, but we're just trying to get the water so it goes away so nobody gets stuck with water.
Stagnant. Right now, water drain, you can see the water, and it's just stagnant, just lays there, it doesn't go anywhere.
It needs to flow the opposite direction, back out towards Maple and then out towards the river. So it kind of got reversed, it wouldn't be standing water on the corner of Guild and Cherry, it would be flowing the other way, you know. And then hopefully it won't flood in that area, right? So either with the water collects, or really go out. Onto.
This hopefully is gonna correct the problem.
Well, we got engineers working on it. If an engineer can't do it, then it's not us. I could never do it. But we have an engineer doing it, so we should be. We're gonna make sure we do it the right way.
Will the CWC help out with that?
Well, I don't, we had them down there last week or week before, 2 weeks ago, right? They were down there and DEP was supposed to come down too. The guy was sick, but he came down the next day, I heard, on his own. And that's why we're trying to get some help from them. I'm gonna see him this Wednesday, well, day after tomorrow, I'm gonna see him and talk to him about it again. And, normally they give water in places like up by the pool or the parking lot, big parking areas where water comes in. And they look mainly for water that may be like dirty water, and they try and clear it out and put filters in and everything. But he's looking into it, and he said he would get back to me, so we're just trying to get some little financing from that.
Right, that way, because it all goes into the water supply that goes down
Down to the, right.
down the city. Well, good luck, you know, it seems like that they would be involved.
Well, he said he wants to work with me. I've known him for a long time. And he said he wants to work with the village and see what we can do. But that's all money from the city.
It's a huge job, right?
Well,
All this,
all of it, yeah.
I hope that.
We got to do what we need to do. So, yes.
Is there anything that we can do? I know someone mentioned, writing letters or soliciting.
All I'd like to have is if I can get enough of someone that I can actually talk to on the court. Just to,
But check me or soliciting or.
we know what we got to do, and I got to protect both sides. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm trying to do the right thing. But the flooding is the main issue right now. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything?
I want to say something about St. John Street.
About who?
About St. John Street, from Mead Street to Burton Street.
Yeah.
People are race tracking through that.
Oh, speeding?
Yes, that's directed to you.
Yeah. Really only cheaply heavy right now.
And the drains, when do they get cleaned? Because, the water's hitting the drain, but then it gets so full, it's coming down my driveway.
And you're on St. John's?
29.
Which would only have that answer. I don't have that answer.
By the garage. And then what about the drain coming that dip? I saw where they put some dirt in there, but now I see that it's coming out. From last meeting. The drain coming out of Kelly Avenue that had a big dip.
You looked at that, didn't you, Butch? There was a man here saying that we come out of Kelly onto St. John, there was a dip or something.
Oh, yeah, it's just the catch basin lower than the road, that's all.
It has to be, the catch basin has to be raised up a little bit. That's what that was, yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing. Okay. Very much.
Thank you. I'm trying to do the best thing, what we can do by law, and I do check everything out before I say something. If you give me that section you're talking about, if you give it to me, or email it to me, or whatever you want to do, I will, our lawyer's on vacation this week, but I will give them a section to check it out.
I'll also let you know I found that within 60 seconds of the meeting.
Okay.
So it's not that hard to find.
No, I'll check it out. But I already asked before about it, and
Yep, I'll give it to you.
okay, thank you.
I have a question, too.
Yes, sir.
You say, this work on Maple Street's gonna be taken care of right away? Because with the donuts gonna run right now, you don't have one.
Well, that's what I want to do. I'm going to talk about it tonight. I've already talked to some of the trustees, and they all feel that, yeah, you're right, we should do it right away. And I'm waiting for Bill to sit down with Butch, and we'll see what we got to do. This right now is a immediate problem that we need to take care of. And I think the trustees all feel the same way, so we'll do what we have to do. Okay, I'll try the best we can. Yes.
On another topic, last month you had asked the new code enforcement officer to develop a noise ordinance, and I was just wondering what the progress is on that. Or is that going to be part of the
I don't, is he here? Oh, there you are. Did you look into that noise ordinance a little bit more with Josh?
Yeah, and what we found is for most of the townships in the area, they run off of a system that there's no set hours really. The only place I found that had set hours was the city of Oneonta. And it's basically left up to the discretion of the police officer when a complaint is made. So the person of sound and reasonable census comes in and decides that the noise is too loud and unreasonable, then they can, at any time of the day, tell them they need to stop what they're doing as long as it's unreasonable.
And then it would be the code enforcement officer or the police that would enforce that?
The police would enforce it.
Well, that doesn't sound fair to the police, when there's no guidelines.
surfaces being over, let's say, 87 decibels, which is for hearing loss. You have to have ear muffs for that. If they were to come up and have that, and if you're like in the middle of the day.
Shouldn't the village then have some sort of rule that says if it's over this amount?
Yeah, so
That would be in the code that we're getting in the law.
That's
We're gonna get.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Because,
we
you
would.
know,
And we're gonna get we'll get a decibel, I think
I mean, you have to have guidelines.
That also is some discretion on what's going on, because if there's heavy construction going on, that's gonna be, obviously over the limit. But, so.
And no hours, and no days of the week. It could be whenever, Monday through.
From what I've read and found for the rest of the townships in the area, Hamden, Delhi, Hancock, there are no set hours. It's all left up to the discretion of the law enforcement in the area.
Can't we be the driving force and say, hey, you know.
we did review a sample law, public law, I think it was scary, but it's something that we're considering and continuing to review. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done delicately. And like I said, there's equipment that needs to be purchased. Justin North had mentioned that before. Code officer mentioned that just now. So there's other municipalities that enforce these types of things, and we're continuing to look into it.
And to be honest, Mary, I think it would be to our benefit not to necessarily have a schedule, because what happens if the party's going on at 8 o'clock? Well, if our ordinance says 10 o'clock, they can go on for another 2 hours.
Yes, but we live across the street from a business that goes 7 days a week.
Yep. No.
Trucks in and out 24 hours a day.
Okay.
And I know that.
But what I'm saying is that.
And I know that was a big question from, back when some gentlemen from Cantor Avenue had asked that question. That it's very loud, very noisy.
The truck I think that was when the truck was running all night, and I don't remember that one.
So this is.
Well, you thought about something else.
Yeah, that was something else.
Okay. But we can get that all put into it, and we'll make sure that it covers every incident we can think of with those on. That's why it's taking a little bit longer.
In other municipalities I've worked in previously, they've had to have, I know the ordinance entails both the decibel rating as well as a requirement for enforcement action for verbal warning at first and the second attempt, as well as multiple complaints. So you have to have more than just one person that's aggrieved by the noise. It has to be more than one party.
And businesses usually have hours of operation.
Agreed.
Anyone else now? We've answered most of the questions. We're going to try our best to do it, make sure that everybody's okay. Okay. If nothing else, I mean, if people feel like welcome to stay, but our engineer will come. We're going to be discussing taking care of it. Thank you.
It's very yeah, I'm sure. I don't know how you solve this. So now you're going to fix it.
So we need to connect the pipe, and that's where the drain gets going. So basically, you know, we get a basin here, and the pump right here.
pipe in it, it's water gets involved, it's gonna just have to find its own way. You know what I mean? Basically, right now it's locked off, so it can't go anywhere. So we put a pipe in, it's eventually gonna have to push its way out.
Okay.
So, it's not gonna change much. It might help, but
We keep it. Good luck. See, important stuff.
yeah.
Molly, nice. I see you there.
And I don't want to
All right, ready? Let's get started. We gotta go further. We got a whole bunch of stuff. Next, we have public abstracts. Anybody that can't read them, I need a motion. Second. Bill Brown.
Yeah, it's for sale sign goes on my.
Oh, your fault. This way goes your fault.
Can you speak up, Bill?
I do have a couple of things I'd like to report on, and a couple of process. A couple items with the sewer system, the I-9, study that.
Was that he did what he did because there are zero laws. You brought that up, and I wanted that up.
Building replacement, that's been with way for a while.
He never had to say anything about it. I'm gonna bring in this truckload of stuff. Do I need a permit for that? And that would have never happened.
Water side of things, there's a couple of different projects underway. The main infrastructure water project is underway, the water line, Route 10, is already in, the contractor is working on the restoration there. Should be finished paving this week, the next step, and then we'll be looking at EFC to close out the financing. We do have an invoice from the contractor this month that was estimating, the amount of $155,555.89, about five.
Yeah, why would you like to, why would you get a copy of the contract?
Need a motion for that? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The other water upgrade project is Curry Well project, to replace the well. We've been using ARPA funds to finance that today. We are getting the pump in, to have long lead times, so we should see that shortly. We did put together an updated budget, which is in your package here, but I apologize for getting it to you guys. So the ARPA funding that was available is just under $300,000, and our net to get the well in and up and running is probably around $100,000. So 396 change is what we're projecting. That's to go from the test wells initially Lane Christensen and then the current well driller is dry well drilling. They put another test well in and the main well, and then being a little deeper, and then we have to pump on it for a lot longer because a lot of time instead of delivering the water supply to the that 396 is going to be beyond what the available in local funds. We're planning to be 5 to 9 somewhere in that range. So it's going to be in the range of $100,000 more for getting the well in production than what was available. We did do some of the work associated with that project under the water project. It's being funded by EFC to try to bumper that as much as possible. There's about $50,000 worth of water line that was put in by the current contractor to run to the new well, so that work is done to help the process out.
Is that $30,000 gap or $1,000 gap?
$100,000 gap. We did talk last month about the lead service line inventory. That work is underway. We're putting our paperwork in with the State Health Department and New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation.
We're providing funding for the lead service line inventory. Over the next couple of months, there's submissions that have to go to the health department. And then there'll be notices going out to the public regarding the status of the lead service line inventory and the status of folks, water services going into their home. So there's a pretty regimented public participation that goes for that process.
Is that different than what Bush has determined?
No, it's all part of the same. So he has a lot of records, historic records of what services are, and they were put in originally, the third party and whatnot, so that's part of it. We have some records of what we've done over the last 10 to 15 years replacing water lines, so that answers a lot of the questions of what pipes are in the ground. That's 50 or 75% of the knowledge of what pipes are in the ground. And then from there, we have to do further outreach to either get in folks' basements to observe what the pipe is coming through the basement wall, and or doing excavations out, closer to the street to dig up the water surface that we may not have records on what the pipe is. So all that has to be done. So there's there's paperwork to document that somebody's service is potentially lead, or not. Hopefully not. And so far, we haven't found any that are lead. But if there are any that are lead, they have to be changed out, which is the requirement that we can get it out.
That costs homeowner?
No, they're gonna pay for it all. They said they were
The replacement.
Right. The regulation requires that the water system fund the replacement of the service all the way into the house. But historically, when we've done water projects, including one we're doing right now, the village pays for the work to the edge of the right of way, and then from the right of way in is the property owner. So that's still the case. If the lead is then, they wrote specific regulations for lead that say the water system is responsible if it's lead all the way into the house. If it's a copper pipe that somebody wants a bigger pipe or a leak or a tree grows into it, that's still the homeowner's responsibility. But if it's lead, the onus is placed on the municipality, nationwide, and there is funding to support the replacement if we can find it. So that is underway. Another thing we do have to ask of the board tonight, the village was notified recently that he's been awarded funding to go towards upgrade of the Austin Lincoln Pool, the Jack Kelly Pool on the Austin Lincoln Park. The application was put in over the summer for a $625,000 project, and $500,000 was awarded from the state dormitory authority of the state of New York is providing the funding. So it's an 80% grant, 20% local match. So on the $625,000 project, it's a $500,000 grant to go towards upgrades of the pool, and the village has to contribute 20% of that. It's also a reimbursement grant, so you have to do the entire project up front, pay for everything up front, and then once everything's done, you have to show the state that you followed all the rules and you did what you said you were going to do, you got all your permits and did everything, and then they will reimburse after the project is done for their eligible expenses. So it is a process, but there is funding that the village wanted to pursue. So we're accepting that grant. The initial process is to sign a couple of certifications, a grantee certification and project certification, which are designations by the board to officials, the mayor, deputy mayor, to be able to sign the paperwork on behalf of the grant and to certify that the money that they're going to provide is going to be used for the pool and for the public uses of the pool. There's clauses in there about it's going to be used for religious purposes or personal purposes and stuff like that. None of that's done now anyway, but that's some of the certifications probably. So if it is something the board wants to proceed with, we would ask for consideration to appoint the mayor and deputy mayor as authorized officers, and that would start the process. So there's a bunch of paperwork that we're going initially. They will at some point return probably more paperwork, the terms of the grant agreement that you will then, we'll come back and say, do you want to sign a grant agreement, these are the formula, those are the programs, these are the timelines, we want the money to be reimbursed, what's all these things that come out, so this starts down that road.
Well, it's up to you. What do you guys do? You want to go down this path and do this and get started with this?
So we gotta come up with $500,000.
To be bonded, right?
Right, 625, to be financed. Nobody's got the money tree, so presumably it's bonded, and the interest costs, will be incurred as part of the project cost.
So you're not gonna cut the project back from 625 to the 500 that we're only getting?
If we cut it back to 500, then you get 80% of 500.
We won't get the 500, right?
So whatever it is, we have 10%. Right.
Up to 500.
Correct. And yes, you have to run for it, you have to run the money, and get reimbursed with that. You know, it's similar to the other DASME grants that we've done over the last couple of years. We're doing Village Hall, we're doing the highway garage, slope repairs, Upper Townsend Street. We've done several smaller scale, $50,000 to $100,000 projects that have been done over the last 10 years with DASME funding, and this is.
Didn't you say too that we could use some in-kind service on this too as well?
We can if we document it, you know, in a certain way. You know, if some work is done in-house or some services are provided in-house, you can take the value of that.
Off our ends.
Something that we should be time and discuss further, you know what I mean, that we end up deciding something differently, but if not, and we want to go with it, at least if it's fall through.
It starts the process. You're not signing the grant agreement yet.
That's going to come back later.
And ultimately, you're not starting down the road until you hire somebody to do work. That's when you're really incurring costs and committing to something. Now you're starting down the road and going to the bank and getting a loan application.
Yeah, I asked what the $625,000 would be used for. Like, what is the intent and what is the scope of the project?
So the scope is to make upgrades kind of across the pool infrastructure, largely replacing a lot of the concrete decking and deck drains that are around the perimeter of the existing pool where there's been a lot of settlement, you know, and since the pooling and and also looking to replace the kiddie pool, which has had a fair amount of settlement, and some of the drains don't work as well as we would like them to. So it's really to try to get more light on the pool. So we're not increasing the capacity or putting, you know, different infrastructure. It's really large scale maintenance on the existing activity of the pool, which will continue to be when you
Not address those are costs that we could be eating without any sort of financing.
right.
Like, what even, but then like, if this is what it's gonna cost eventually, is $625,000 fix what needs to be fixed, then we're gonna pay it one way or the other. If it's funded in 80%, that's about as good a deal as you're gonna find, I would have to think.
The other programs that we've seen the fund work at the pool are 25% grant or 50% grant. So this was a new program. It's the first year it was offered. Maybe it'll be again in the future, maybe it won't. But this is the first year this specific program is offered.
So that's a gamble too, like, taking a chance that this will ever be available again.
Right. The last repair work that was contracted out from the pool was after was after the 2006 flood. There was a fair amount of damage to the pool, and FEMA paid for some of the repairs that were done. And that was about 5 years ago.
My opinion is we keep the ball rolling until we make a decision as best we can at the time we have to.
So you want to start the process then? You make a motion?
I would make a motion to just continue the process.
You second it? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote.
So you're good with the mayor and the deputy mayor signing?
Yeah, that's the first. So you're authorized officer.
That was my motion.
Yeah.
You already have it.
Well, no,
The drainage stuff, so we have to look at that, there are.
because we said that we're gonna talk about it, we have to come up with a plan to do this right away. So you said we could do something right now. if we wanted.
There's upgrades on existing drainage infrastructure on Gill that tie into Maple, from back to the school. There's upgrades on the existing drainage infrastructure that will help that. So that is replacing some of the existing drainage infrastructure and tying in
On Maple Street.
better to the Maple Street infrastructure, and there's gaps in the Maple Street infrastructure where things aren't running efficiently.
But we have to, if they want to do this, we said we're gonna do something, we gotta start doing it right away.
So
There's something you need to sit down with Butch and talk about, or whatever.
right, yeah, we look to, put on paper where, what pipes would run where, and look at grades closer, you did Walton shoot that area with a,
Level, yeah. I just wanna get that water, at least from the Maple Street area, running down Maple Street, so we can get, I'm hoping, a bigger part of it, the flooding problem taken care of. And that's something we want. I mean, if everybody feels the same way, I don't know how, I don't wanna speak for anybody else, I mean.
We have to do something on that, right? I mean, it's more or less this necessity for our citizens. So I don't know what the motion needs to be in order to forward that, but I don't know if that needs to be
gotta be
decided amongst professionals that deal with these things, and then we reconvene, when we reconvene, it's decided or what, but agreed it needs to happen.
You said that it was within existing upgrade plans, so are you talking about the I&I? What did you mean by that? That there's already existing?
there's several catch basins, there's a couple of catch basins on Gill, and then several more on Maple Street, and they're not all connected as well.
So we need to change those pipes, make sure they're all connected so it runs equally down there.
Is that going to require purchasing equipment or materials that we would have to authorize?
Depending on how you have the work done, if you're hiring a contractor to do it, you can have a contractor to put in purchase catch basins, and gravel and pavement to restore the area. So there has been other drainage infrastructure work done in the past through CHIPS funding, through the county bid contracting process. So that would probably be a start.
The first step in this process would be to retain a contractor to evaluate and provide an estimate for the work. Is that fair to say? Is that something we should take a motion to do?
Yeah. If we're gonna do it, we have to make a motion.
So I'll make a motion to.
What they would need to do first.
We go out and walk it with them and come up with a game plan, so we can figure out what that is with contract.
How, can we get started on that right away?
Well, I think Cobus was on as the county did for that, work.
I think Butch mentioned that, I think Butch said that. So, I would think they'd make a motion that we get started on it right away, so.
So what specifically do you need authorization to do that?
Contact Cold Stove
I'll contact Cobus Stone
and get an estimate.
coordinate,
What's it gonna cost to do?
the drainage upgrades and the
I make a motion to do exactly that.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. That's the main thing. I mean, yours was important, but we promised all these people that we're gonna get started on it. I don't wanna make them wait. We said we're gonna do it, we're gonna keep on working.
now, if we're gonna do something,
We gotta do it right away. We can't, it's gonna get cold, and I wanna make sure we get that water running before. Okay.
We also received their.
yes.
Oh, yeah, annual contract, yeah.
So that's been going.
Does not.
No, you didn't have that. You guys didn't when I was here.
Chopped it.
He chopped it in half, yeah.
And it's held since then. As far as cost, so it's because they were in their agreement.
Right.
For Delaware Engineering to serve as the village engineer.
You need a motion for that?
Make a motion, we authorize the mayor to sign contract renewal with Delaware Engineering at the historic rate of $45.50 since 2009. Sign that before he changes his mind.
All in favor?
Alright.
All right, great. Thank you. That's it. Go ahead. Okay, good. Oh, jeez, I forgot. Okay. Shane, you're next. So, excuse me, but you can tell everybody we kept our word. I don't want to come back that we didn't do what we said we were gonna do. I'm glad you stood here.
That's why I stayed.
Yeah. Good. Again, I'm sorry, guys.
Everybody get my report?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? I have one request, well, two requests. The first one's for Esther to perform the yearly maintenance of our Seabud influence pumps at a cost of $3,890, and that's 100% DEQ.
Why couldn't it be the 300,000 or something? Yeah. We need a motion for that, please?
Make a motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Both? Okay. And then the next one that is, we had a clarifier failure, and that was a clarifier that was put in 92, and their both clarifiers 3 and 4 are rotten and they need to be replaced. And Cedarwood Engineering is looking into estimates, but their rough estimate right now is between 1.2 and 1.6 million to replace both 3 and 4 clarifiers. And that's just the inside. The
That's the
concrete
inside.
structure is fine.
Do we get anything from the city or? Oh.
So they're gonna work on that, and the contractor was there Friday to look at the thing.
We'll come back to the next meeting and give us something. We're gonna try and have to see if we can get some more money someplace. Now you said the DEP one don't do anything with that, right? Because it's where it's located.
They said because it was already, they didn't fund it prior to.
Can you give me something on that in paper that I can show somebody? Good. Yeah, give it to me because I'm on the coalition of watershed towns, and I want to bring that up and see if that's something maybe with the CWC we can get some help with or something. I don't know. I'm just gonna ask. But if you don't ask, you don't know. I gotta find out first.
So prior to what was the loose?
When they did the last time, the city didn't give us anything.
Right, it was a 92 upgrade.
Yeah. And the city didn't give us anything towards it, so they said they want to step up and give us a little bit more, so maybe this would be time for me to say, all right, then prove it, is this going to help us out? Just to see.
Dealing with the reservoirs since 19.
Long time. Jody, if you give me a copy, Jody, I'll bring it to the meeting and see what we can do with that. At least ask. If I get something, it's better than nothing. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Back. I know we brought you into it ahead of time, but I'm glad you were here. Thank you.
So the only thing I have this week is really an update for the general lower parking lot. I've been reaching out to the owner of the building for the property for a while now. The last couple of times I reached out to her and got no response. So I reached out to Fuller Paving today to see if they could give me a start date for 56 September for the last time we spoke. And Fuller Paving closed on September 1st and September 15th, so I couldn't get any information on that.
Okay.
So I sent an email to Mel, telling her to start to talk to her a couple of times, and she hasn't gotten back. So I eventually replied that it was going to be sometime in September. I told her I'd contact the Fuller Paving, and I told her that it's been discussed, that if the issue isn't resolved, in a timely manner, that there's a possibility of the building temporarily being shut down until the issue is resolved. And I haven't had a response on that yet. I said that.
Would you leave on my desk her number again and again? I spoke to her once, but I'll give her a call again. Always helps to have a little bit extra call. Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hopefully they are gonna get it fixed.
She said that they had an estimate for $85,000 in change to be able to do the fix. So she did send me, as,
Yeah,
I just don't have the start date.
I also got a DC request for that public component.
Well, that means that they're in the process.
Love that.
That's good. Thank you very much. Raj? Is it?
Everybody, my report, okay?
Yes.
Questions? I forgot to put on here, I don't have the exact date yet, but in October we have our fall water reports come up for credit renewals. I'd like to ask we had it from myself and John Walton, possibly Matt, the situation will be there. So, renewal credits. Make the motion, we authorize the renewal credits.
Second? All in favor? Vote? Carry. Thank you. How's Matt doing, by the way?
I actually saw him before the meeting, he was doing very well.
I'm glad, very glad to hear that.
I know he's doing very well.
Thank God, I'm glad, thank you. Chief? Don't feel bad, we always save the best for last.
Everyone get the report.
I like the new way of doing it. I want to mention
Yeah,
the little format. Before it used to be one sheet, you just gotta look through it. This tells you right away. Could work good or bad. As long as you have a lot of activity, it's good. That's right.
Well, we keep it right on the desk. So,
No, I like the way that you did it. The average layperson could look at this and tell right away what's going on. So that's good.
Thanks, Sharon, for that.
We will.
And then the only other thing, is asking for the free training, childhood trauma summit, going on to September 24th to 25th. So Mitchell would like to go to that. I think the only day, Tuesday she's working, so she was over there, under her, but then the next day she's off, so. It's only that. Other than that,
She should go to that training.
Yeah.
That's the fire work, that's gonna be, that'll be a valuable thing for her.
Yeah. Need a motion?
I make the motion to allow us.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. The car's on order, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. We got it. By the way, I'm still talking to the senator on it. He said, don't worry, it's not dead, but I gotta keep talking to him. I'll see him on Wednesday and I'm gonna push him more.
Okay, very good.
All right, trustee reports. We'll start with, have anything?
Yep, so I have a authorization to request approval for a court to apply for the 2024-2025 grant cycle up to the amount of $30,000 as allowed by the grant. I'll read off the resolution. It's something we passed previously, previous grant cycle year. Village of Walton resolution authorizing the Walton Village Court to apply for a JCAP grant for the 2024-2025 grant cycle, whereas the Walton Village Court is requesting the Walton Village Board to authorize the Walton Village Court to apply funding from the Justice Court Assistance Program during the upcoming grant cycle. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board, the Village of Walton authorizes the Walton Village Court to apply for a JCAP grant for the 2024-25 grant cycle, up to $30,000.
And that was for,
That is for,
I know, but
chairlift and also metal detector security measures. And so those obviously have to continue to be estimates for the deadline is so still in the process of that. This is just a formality of authorizing the court to apply. I don't know if you have the documentation, which I'm sure as well. So I make a motion to approve.
need a second on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And that's it.
Beth, you have anything?
No, I just, Brian stopped in today to see me, so we're gonna make a plan before the next meeting, then we're gonna go up to the pool, and we're just gonna go through everything.
Talk to them about that pickleball thing, we got the name brought up, I thought that was a pretty good idea. to
Yeah,
see
no,
how we
that
can-
is a good idea. Very good idea. And, Jim Rice just recently spoke today, and he had email, and I'll be going to the next meeting as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Along the line of Parks and Rec, while she brought it up, we did have somebody rent out.
I was gonna bring that up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
You wanna-
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring that up. I think I told somebody already. There was a woman named Autumn Miller who rented, a pavilion in the park. The Andy Pavilion last Sunday. And the bathrooms were not open. So she is requesting a refund in her fee for doing that. So, I'm waiting for someone to like, huh? Yeah. Yeah, not that I've never.
Yeah, no.
This is the first time I've ever
The
been
guy
there.
just said.
Yeah.
Huh? He said he would.
Oh. So I need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
A
second.
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Well, I was gonna mention that in my report, so it's good, take care of it, that's all right. I have nothing else, we talked about everything I was gonna bring up, so thank God we did, so. Other than that, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I say something?
Sure.
In regards to the chairlift, I often have to clean off the stairs. The roof is in need of repair. If you're gonna put a chairlift in there, it's coming down on the stairway on whenever it rains a lot. There's a big crack in there. It's been leaking, and a bunch of debris falls down. I just thought you ought to know that.
Yeah, we have to take a look at that to see what we can do.
I should have said something before now. Usually I report things like that.
It's okay.
But
We'll look into that, it's gonna be a while before we get the grant, I mean, the whole process takes a while.
thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing it up.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to interrupt.
That's okay, no, you're fine. Wish everybody was pleasant to talk to, just talk, you're good.
May I make one request? Give me a battery.
Yeah, all right. I think we got to put that up, that should be.
Yeah, can you
I
afford
said
it?
that in the church Saturday.
All right, that's it, I think, for everybody, thank you very much, and, I think we're done for tonight, thank you.